Hello, everybody. I hope this finds you okay. It is Wednesday. It's time for our spiritual light. Today we have Munir as our special guest. We're gonna explore his mind, his view about it. And today's topic it is inequality and justice and the law of justice. And we can say that this week topic touches us all, whether directly or indirectly, which is social injustice. Um, and we have many questions like why does this exist? What is our role in changing it? The Spiritist teachings in the book, the Spirit's book, I think is believe questions 873 to 892, 90, something like this, give us powerful tools to reflect on these questions, which is the law of justice, law of charity, and law of love. Spiritism teaches that every soul is created equal before God, and that apparent inequality in material conditions is often tied to the needs of each spirit's evolution. But this is never a justification or a reason for indifference. On the, on the other way around, those who understand the truth are called to serve, love, and repair. Tonight, let us go beyond the theory and ask how can you truly live the law of charity in today's divided world? What does spiritism justice look like in practice? And what are we each called to do in the face of inequality? May tonight's discussion inspire us to act not only to thinkers, as a thinkers, but as instruments of compassion and moral transformation in the society. And as God is justice, I am not here alone. So Munir and I do have two other workforces, Charles and Elsa. So good evening, Elsa. How are you, my dear?
Good evening, Stevan. Good evening, Charles, Munir, and our great and wonderful audience that will stay with us, making questions. Everyone is really welcome for tonight in this wonderful life that brings us together in the same room, attendees, friends, guest speaker, Charles, Stevan, myself, in a big round table talking about something very important that is around us every day. We are in this middle of this law of iniquity or injustice, justice. So we have to reflect and talk. So thank you, Stephen, and thank you all for being with us.
Good. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir Steven, bonsoir Elsa, bonsoir Munir. Hello everyone. Again, very happy to be here to try to bring some insights about this subject, law of justice, love and charity. Is it really still applying to our today's world? This is what we will try to analyze and to explain.
Good. Good. And Munir. Thank you, Munir, for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, Stevan. Hello to you, to our dear Elsa and Charles. My warm welcome to our audience. It's very nice to be here again and to be talking about this aspect of Spiritism, which is very much practical. Spiritism has to be practical in our lives. It is interesting that we study and get to know what the spirits came to tell us, but we should take it a step forward, which is put into practice. And I think the social inequalities that we see in our world, when we look at them from the spiritist perspective, we start to understand, and hopefully, if we have goodwill, we start to act in a more effective way. So it's very interesting, and thank you for inviting me to be here with you, sharing our thoughts on this topic. It's really important.
Thank you, Munir. Yeah, it's always good to have you. We thank you for your time and availability. So, also we want to say good evening to Lily Kapae, Kardak UK, Marco Davis. Let me see. Our dear friend Vanderlei. Hey, my friend. Good to have you here. So many people. We are already with the 25 people in the room. So that's very good. Very good start. So, first thing first, and I'd like to start with you, Munir, since you are our guest. I leave the easy question for you and the harder question for the others. In order to kick off our discussion today, what does the law of justice and law of charity teach us about our moral obligation toward others?
Yes, it's a very profound question, Stevan, because we have to go back to what we know from Spiritism about our beginning. We are created all equal, all the same. But of course, because we have our free will, we create for us, a route for us to evolve. And of course, exercising our free will and our actions in the world, we start to take certain, roads. And some of us will go faster than others. So it's natural that we find inequalities in the world when it comes to aptitudes to spiritual development. But when we put charity, indulgence, humility into context, we realize that, like brothers and sisters in a family, when there is love, the elder ones will help the younger ones. And what we normally see in the world is actually those who are ahead taking advantage of those who find themselves behind in one way or another. And that's why we find social inequalities in the world, especially in the social aspect of it. But of course, we see in terms of wealth, and we see that it is a result of our imperfections. People blame God for that. Oh, if there's injustice in the world, God is the one to blame for that. No, we are the ones to blame for that, because in the exercise of our social behavior, we end up creating these distortions because we are still full of selfishness, pride, and greed. These are the elements that created distortions in the world. But because the law of justice is a universal law, sooner or later we'll understand that. And what we experience today is, in fact, at the same time, the mistakes that we make from our imperfections and the medication for that. And the important element within Spiritism is reincarnation, because we tend to look at one picture, one frame in the whole movie, in the whole film. So we don't understand what came before and what's going to happen afterwards. We just look at the frame. And from that perspective, we see, the world, is so unjust. God is so unjust. Because next to someone who has a lot to spare, there are others who hardly have the bare minimum to survive. How come? Isn't God looking at that? But we have to understand what came before and what is going to happen afterwards. And as I said before, together with our mistakes, we also have the medication, the medicine for that. Today, we are the ones wasting our resources. Tomorrow, we'll be the ones who will learn to use our resources properly based on our situation where we have the bare minimum to survive. So there's always a lesson. And the beauty of that is that love and charity will put us all in a good condition in the future. Because despite the differences that we have, we'll never be exactly the same. Can you imagine the over 8 billion inhabitants of the planet being exactly the same, arriving today at the exact evolutionary point, all together, all with the same skills? No. And as the Spirit said, if we were to share equally the wealth of the world, amongst all the inhabitants, very soon we'll find inequalities again. Why is that? Because some are more skillful than others. And naturally, that will happen. So what should we do? We should live in fraternity. We should live in a constant state of looking at others as if we were looking at ourselves. So doing to others what would like them, done to us. So the problem to sort out inequalities, I see, especially with the Spiritist teachings, is exactly that, to exercise love and charity. Because for a long time, we'll live with inequalities, but not the inequalities that we promote out of our selfishness, of our pride, of our greed, but the inequalities of those who know a bit more and stop and turn back to teach the others who know a bit less, those who've achieved a bit more and think that they could share what they've conquered with those who are still on their way. So I think that's how I see the practical ways of applying the teachings that we have within Spiritism in the context of social inequalities.
Yeah, this is very, very, very important for us to, starting with the respect to others. This goes a little bit what we discussed last week. It comes with respecting someone's boundaries. So let me see here. Looks like we have TV Esperança de Uruguay. So gracias. Very good. Very good, reaching the four corners of the world. So thanks to Kardec Radio, reaching those. Charles, how does Spiritism explain the presence of inequality and injustice in society from a spiritual perspective?
That's a good point. I think Munir touched very well the points already. If God exists, God must be infinitely just. Otherwise, there would be a inconsistency, a philosophical inconsistency somewhere. So if God is infinitely just, all what happens on the earth must have a reason, which is also just. And of course, when we look on one life only, a single life, from birth to death, some people are rich, some other poor, some other healthy, some other ill, some had access to educations, others not. So reasoning on one life, we cannot understand that. So one key point for understanding this infinite justice of God is the law of reincarnation. We don't have only one life, we have several lives. And when we suffer injustice or we are in a really misery or starving, whatever situation in one life, there must be, so it's of course very difficult to explain to the people. But what can you do? As Munir said, blame God or whoever? No, God is infinitely just. When we synchronize with God, we synchronize with the good spirits, the mentors who are here to help us and to find our way and to overcome the difficulties. So blaming God is not a solution. That's the opposite. It makes our suffering even bigger. So the thing is, okay, if I suffer, if I'm in a poor situation in this life, it is because it is what I need now in order to progress for my soul, enabling to progress. And of course, we know that it is when we are facing difficulties that we do most efforts in order to find solutions, to prevent other sufferings, to find healing or whatever. When everything is well, we accommodate, we are not motivated to progress a lot. But when facing adversity, if we are capable to do positive use of adversity, that is where we learn a lot. And we must be honest now. In our world, uh, mostly we are facing adversity, isn't it? Still, we are not yet in a world where the good is prevailing over the evil. It's the opposite. The evil is prevailing over the good. So that's exactly what we need in our current evolution state in order to progress quicker. And this is also one of the aspects of this infinite justice of God. And because the justice basically is to respect the rights of everyone. And we know this since a long time, even 2 millennia back. Jesus told us, do unto the others what you would like the other to do unto you. If we manage to do that, if we manage to be willing for the other what we would like the other to do on us, or what we would like to get from the others, that's the most secure path to justice. Because if everyone is reasoning according to this very simple principle that everyone can understand, that is exactly where we find the path and the way towards evolution. Of course, we should not expect everyone on Earth to act like this. But okay, we can start by ourselves because we have everything to win and nothing to lose by doing this. Because on another hand, if we progress, even if we progress quicker than the average of this 8 billion, over 8 billion, as Munir said, just recalled, humans on the Earth, then maybe on the next life we can reincarnate in a better world than the Earth. Or if the Earth is going now through this transition, we will be amongst those who will stay here when the Earth will become better. Because if we are, the law of justice applies to everything. Everything is equal in front of God. Everyone has started in the same way. This is exactly what Munir told. And the differences are coming from the different, some people are lazy, some others are more working more, some people are using their free will to do good, some others are using their free will to do evil. So that is where these differences come. But it depends on us, this to use our free will in the good way, and also to work more, to learn more, and to make the efforts needed for our evolution. So God does not give privilege to anyone. We are all treated the same way, and all we are progressing according to our own work and to our own merits. So this is another aspect of this infinite justice of God. course, it declines also in love and charity, but this I think we will develop in a second stage of the questions.
Good. Thank you. Thanks, Charles. Joana Mora wrote to us, love, charity, and education, both moral and academic. No two people are the same, so there cannot be equally. Only through education and teaching people so they can do for themselves. Remember the story of the father who gave his three sons the same amount of money. One buried it away, the other invested it well and multiplied it, and the other one spent it all on party. Thank you, Joanna. Juana, thank you. Thank you for your comments. But yes, we needed to to be very attentive with what we are doing today, because um, if you like or not, we are liable for everything we do. This bill must come, and the bills will arrive someday. And according to Munir and Charles, what they said, um, we need we needed to learn and do not no not learn it. We needed to spend more time working than complaining. We spend too much time complaining. If it's sun is because the sun is because it's hot, it's because it's warm, it's rainy, it's because it's wet, is gray. Always we have it's like those who have curly hair, they want straight. Those who have straight hair, they want to make it curly. So it's always like this. So we needed to spend time more in contemplate what we do have, the way we are, how we are, and uh, stop looking aside. You know. So, my dear Elsa, what are practical ways spiritists can engage in acts of justice and solidarity in their lives?
I think Munir started explaining, and Charles said very well regarding. And there's something come to my mind in a practical way that everybody can observe, everybody can use their times to see the invisible people. Because our brothers and sisters in poverty or in situations, in very difficult situation, sometimes we close our eyes, we disguise, we don't see them. We don't see in order not to move our hearts towards compassion, towards humbleness. And of course, we are failing. We must change, we must customize our eyes, our heart, to follow the law of justice, love, and charity. Because this is a triangle that is just one law, the law that helps us to progress. But everything that we put, love, compassion, understanding, charity, forgiveness, we are really enlightening ourselves. Every Monday, the ground floor under our room where we have our spiritist meetings on Mondays here in north of London, in Walthamstow, for the ones that are in the area and wants to come, 7 p.m. We have people downstairs in a big queue to waiting for their boxes with non-perishable food. A lot of mothers with the drums, kids, men, everyone, a lot of people there that is really touch our hearts. My trolley is ready to go this coming Monday, full of cans with non-perishable food and other things in order to contribute from our group, Spiritist group, to this food bank that people can donate to others that has no way to have their own food, own way to buy it or promote themselves. So we can do more than that. Here is a different way to do. In Brazil, there is another different way to do. You can do a lot of things that go charitable work with soup, meals, offering a lot of things for people, clothes, etc. Here we can do contribute to other charities, not ourselves directly to do this, but we can volunteer ourselves as a spiritist in a practical way to promote the love, charity, and justice, doing our best towards the ones that are invisible for the big society. And of course, in the Spirit Center, we can offer for free spiritual treatment, helping people with the under obsessions, because in the law of justice, we have the two sides, spiritual side and human justice. And from the spiritual side, there's a lot of envy or enemies, spiritist enemies from incarnated people that are under obsession, in big depression, people that don't move themselves because they are in full of illnesses, promoted or brought from the spiritual side, instigated them to go to commit suicide or other things. So we can help these people as well. They are on the medication, but the Spiritist Center can help. As a Spiritist volunteer, we can help. You can offer to them the way that they can see life in a different way. They can be more grateful for having a house to live, or place to stay, or food to eat. And sometimes people that has nothing, they are really grateful for life. Wherever they are, it's a difficult situation, they are grateful for life. Sometimes we speak with people, the poor, and they say, God is a blessing in my life. If I don't have God, I could be died now. So we see this scale of justice in two different things, spiritual side and practical side of incarnated way to do things. So more or less is this one, and perhaps Munir and Charles can add more things.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear. So, Charles, any additional comments based on what we discussed so far?
Yes, I mean, we talk a lot about charity, and Elsa gave some wonderful examples that giving to people who are lacking necessary goods. But the charity, as per the Spiritist definition, is even more than that. It's benevolence for everyone, indulgence for the imperfections of the others, and forgiveness of the offenses. So we see that in this definition given in the Spirits book, question 886 by the Spirits, it's even not question of giving money to some people. So charity is really a mindset in the behavior. This is one of the practical way that the Spiritists can engage in acting and building, reflecting this God's infinite justice into our world and our society. Because well, not only with material charity, but also with moral charity. And it depends only on us. Of course, a lot of people will not understand us. Huh? It's like John Lennon. Huh? You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And one day you will join us. So that's it. This is how we will build this, make a society which is more in line with this infinite justice of God.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. Also, sorry. Also, our friend from Quebec, UK said we need to respect others because we all come from different paths and experiences. We all grow towards light, but we are all not the same. We need to help others by guiding them from our example. Guiding, advising, and showing how to do right is not only charity to others, but is how we learn also. The more we show others, study, and show, the more it resonates with us and become part of us. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with your comments here. And Munir, do you have anything to compliment?
Yes, Stevan, I want to say that whatever the situation we find ourselves in this in the physical world, it is for us part of a process of learning and growing. You know, and when we are rich, and we may not necessarily mean in terms of physical material wealth, but intelligence, resources, a special position that we have within society, or if we are poor or extremely poor in all these aspects, we are there to learn something, you know, because we are at a level that become full of imperfections still. And in exercising, these virtues that begin to spring in us in different positions, in one incarnation and the other, perhaps even in the same incarnation, then we start to develop these virtues in us. And that's why the reason why we also experience these differences in the world, these inequalities, once they are not promoted by our own imperfections. They are a common part of life. Once I ask myself, we do charity, especially material charity, in our world. There is so much need here. But what about worlds that have reached the level where the spirits no longer suffer from hunger, from the vicissitudes that we have here in the physical world? How can we do charity? And then Charles came with the answer, because charity is not only material. And I think once we exercise the virtues that we understand as charity, according to what the spirits told us in the Spirit's book, we begin to understand that we change the world by first and foremost changing ourselves. We are not here to change other people, if not with our own example. And to be an example for other people, we should work really hard for us to take advantage of our experience, whatever it may be, and learn with that. So if we want to change the world in terms of social inequalities and so on, we don't do it by forcing situations. We do that by being first the example, because it has to be a natural movement. We don't want a world where there is so much injustice. We want a world where the justice, the law, is practiced all the time, 100% of the time. But first we have to understand the law in its full extent. If we don't want to break the law, we need to understand that. When I move to a country and I don't want to get fined for driving or doing something while driving, I need to understand the legislation there, what I should and what I shouldn't do. It's the same here. We should understand the universal law of justice, the divine law of justice, because it's perfect. And the more I do that, then the more my acts will be in according to it and will be just. That's what we should, work hard to do. There is a very interesting example. I'll mention that briefly, though those who are interested could go to the book Heaven and Hell and study the case of spirits whose name was, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, because he was from Lithuania in his incarnation when, after deceasing, he went to the Parisian society, and through mediumship, he told his story. It's Zimmel Slisgo, chapter 8, Earthly Expiations. And it's very much, one example about the situations that we have in life, the extreme poverty that he had to face, the conditions of his life. And as I said before, if we look at, this frame, his current situation, his current incarnation, or his last incarnation, we would say God is not just, not at all. Look what happened to him. But when he starts to tell about his previous incarnations, then we see the beauty, the love that there is in the law of justice, how perfect things are. And he was so grateful for that, but it took him 2.5 centuries to understand that, and to face the situation. It's beautiful because he changed it completely from his last incarnation to that one where he lived in extreme poverty, and basically he dedicated his time to help others without anything for himself. Whatever he gained, he gave to others. And then he explained why. Because he was seen as a saint, as someone, a spirit who apparently has always been like that. But then he tells, no, on the contrary. What helped me be what I am today was this situation, which was the opposite. He was very rich. He was a king actually, and abused of his situation. So that's why we see some, many problems of we have so many problems with inequalities in the world, because we abuse of our position, whatever it is, rich, poor, intelligent, so mediocre in intellectual terms, or common in intellectual terms. We can easily captivate people, or we have difficulty with relationship with other people. Whatever it is, we can always make good use of that. But we need to, to do that with the love, with charity, and with this understanding that we will progress. And as we will progress, we'll have those around us.
Munir, is like we need to just do it, not because of reason, because it's part of us. No. And anyway, let me see if we have. Oh, Lou VM. Good evening, Lou. Thank you for being here. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, Charles, you're very quiet today. And what are the practical ways spiritists can engage in acts of justice and solidarity in their daily lives?
Yeah, good point. But it's practically, so it's to behave as aligned as possible with the natural laws. And these natural laws are including the moral laws. And this law of justice, love, and charity is one of these moral laws. It's Kardec classified them in 10, and justice, love, and charity is the 10th one, but it's somehow the most important because it encompasses all the others somehow. And it's not new. Kardec never claimed to bring something new, because Spiritism existed, the Spiritist phenomenon existed since mankind existed. And these moral laws have been taught not only by Jesus, but also by Buddha, by Confucius, by Mohammed, by everyone. I mean, these are universal moral laws. And that is what we need to study, to understand, and then to know ourselves, looking uh, according to these laws that are now quite very well clarified and put in a simple and practical way that we can use directly on the day-to-day basis. Okay, where I am in this? What did I do today? Did I fail to do some good that I could have done but didn't done? Did I do all the good I could do? Uh, can someone have something to blame me? Did I make something wrong? And these questions, according to the knowledge of these laws, will show us, okay, this is where I am. This is where do I want to go to? I want to go to more happiness, more evolution, more goodness, a better world, and so on. So we have everything. So it's just a question. Okay, what am I waiting for? Let's go and do it. And it's so many aspects. This benevolence, indulgence, and forgiveness. They all helping. There are so many people, elderly people, isn't it, Elsa? That I have a neighbor which is 97 years old, so sometimes go and see him and see also people, whatever we would like to get if we would be in that same situation is what we have to make efforts to do and to give to the others. Of course, all that we are helping will not reward us. They may be even uh, reward us with ingratitude. But that's not a problem. One day they will also progress and they will at the end be grateful for whatever we did. And then we have also to some projectors question our conscience. And for instance, I will. What is in according to your opinion the best situation between someone who suffered an injustice and someone who committed an injustice? The second one is definitively, to say, easier for our conscience, isn't it? Because if we committed an injustice, our conscience will be heavier. We will have a bad conscience, and we will have somehow to pass through several steps in order to wipe the injustice or the evil we have done. We will have first to get aware that we did something wrong. That's the first step. And then to regret what we have done wrong. Then there is also natural consequences, with so-called expiation. We will have to feel in our body, in ourselves, what we have made suffers to the other suffering. And this is something which helps us in order to change our mindset, in order to never ever reincidate and do the same thing again. And then we also need to repair the prejudice we have given, or we have been the cause for someone else. So you see, when we do something wrong, there is a lot of things to do in order to repair. On the other hand, when we do something good, we are just raising, evolving, and building our future. And this is what we have to do. So it goes through, again, learning about these universal moral laws, to know them, which are nothing else than natural laws. Then to know ourselves, to see who we are, not to overestimate us, also not to underestimate us, to try to see as best as we can where we are. And that is then giving us the hint of which aspect we should work on us in order to make that progress we are still lacking.
Very good point. Yeah, yeah. This topic is kind of, we know what we need to do, but we don't do it. I think
Are
that's
we
how I
waiting?
summarize everything. We know. No, it's now it is in our conscious. What we know what to do. The point is, do I want to do it or not? So, my dear Elsa, so since we are approaching to the last 10 minutes, what's your final considerations?
We have to be vigilant with ourselves. Everything that we are talking about to help the others, to do to others unto what you have the others do unto us is in our own benefit. We as pointed here, I think Asila wrote something regarding we are not the same, of course, we are different souls, different ways to evolve, different ways to do things, to see others. But if I can walk only 100 meters, but I do all my best from my heart, I put all my efforts to walk 100 meters and I do it with my fully good energy and will to do, it's wonderful. But if someone can do 1,000 and do only 100, there is a long way to fulfill the other tasks. So we can be transparent with ourselves. We should put that aside, any masks, any other kind of things, to be beautiful for outside the family, to be a nasty person inside the families. We should see others as we see our family, with love and care. It's difficult, yes. Why to do this? It's up to you to think about. If Jesus came to show on his own example how to treat the Pharisees, how to treat the tax collector, how to treat the people in the streets, how to treat the leprosy people, we should do our best. Otherwise, our planet is still in almost the same position, and we need to evolve in order to evolve our humankind. But it's a long way, a long journey, but we never stop, never stay doing nothing, but have eyes to see, ears to hear, but do our best towards evolution. That is the way that we should do. But don't wait, don't exercise things for others do for you. You can do sometimes more than you think that you can do. I can do more than I think that I can do. I try my best every day with all the efforts. Sometimes the body will be tired, yes, but the soul will rest in peace during the night, meeting other spirits and talking about, and next day we are fully recovered with our love, charity, and justice in our heart every day.
Perfect. Good. Munir, what's your final consideration, my friend?
Yes, Stevan. We are talking about the law of justice, and whenever we talk about law here on the planet, we think about the hands of the law, the police, and we think about the court to judge us according to those laws, if we have broken the laws or not, you know. But when it comes to divine law, there's no such a thing as, police, a court to judge us, to decide the punishment that we deserve for what we did. We have our conscience. It is in our conscience that all these laws are inscribed. And as we progress, our conscience will guide us, will tell us what is the right thing to do. Hopefully, before we do, what is wrong, help us change that. Otherwise, when you tell us what we did that was wrong, then comes a period of suffering, because we realize I could have done good and I did evil. So uh, it is in our conscience, and of course there is a way that the law of justice is always fulfilled. It is the cause and effect. Whatever we do, we are accountable for that. So we'll get the effects of what we did. So this is the way that the law of justice is present all the time with us. So we know it's not easy. We are still, discovering, finding these laws within ourselves. And I think the best way to do it, especially in terms of law of justice and charity and so on, is to listen to our hearts, listen to our minds. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm being a fool because I'm forgiving that person once more.
Yeah.
But my heart said that's the right thing to do. But no. So stop and think, listen to our heart, listen to our conscience. And once we are in peace with our decision, that's what, the best we can get at that moment. If later we realize that, we could have done it differently, better, but we'll be in a different moment. Let's always place people who are with us, swap places with them, and see if we would like our decisions, our choices, what we do towards them, if they were doing towards us, if they're deciding for us or acting, on us according to that. And if we are not happy with that, they won't be happy for us with that. Then we should change our decision and see what would make me happy. Sorry, in that. That's the choice that we make for other people, according to what we feel, what we think is the best for ourselves.
Yeah, thank you, Munir. Yeah, I agree with you. And um, we always need to do what is best for us, but put in a balance against pride, against selfishness. Anyway, Charles, to agree, we are evolving, but sometimes when we turn on the TV or read the newspaper, sometimes we can see the world, it is upside down for some eyes. For the eyes, the world is okay. For the other, it is so they're just reaping what they sowed. What's your final comment, my friend?
Indeed, Steven. I mean, when we see all what's happening around the world, and also the medias or the social networks or whatever, which are focusing more on the evil because on the bad news, because this is still a tendency of the humankind to focalize and to pay more attention to the bad things than to the good things. So it gives us sometimes good reasons to to lose a little bit of hope and so on. But again, I mean, we have really the strong statement is God is infinitely just. So this injustice and these inequalities we are seeing, these miseries and starving and whatever we are seeing on the world, we are sure, according to the Spiritist body of knowledge, that this is only temporary and that everything, every single individual, and also the society and the earth as a whole are progressing it will take a little while, but the trend is to go towards this infinite justice that is the one of our Creator and the one we tend to. And the fact to know this, it gives us, at the opposite, the force in order to resist to these trends of pessimistic, of materialism, of overconsumption, and whatever. To resist to all this and to see what is really the most important for every one of us. It's not the material things, because again, I repeat again and again, we will not take with us a single penny and a single atom of our physical body the day we will die. Everything will stay here. We will go with our soul, with all what it has acquired as intelligence and as in goodness, with all the good conscience, but also the less good conscience. Those are the things we take with us and that are eternally with us. So that is really where we have to focus on, and having this, uh, being sure that this is where we will land sooner or later. This gives us the motivation to go there. And sometimes, of course, we are suffering, we are afflicted. But Jesus told, blessed are the afflicted. He told it already to us. Don't stay optimistic. Please stay optimistic. Don't uh, let you lose hope and faith because all what you are seeing, which are the necessary trials for everyone to progress. huh? So it is as simple as that. And having this in mind, of course, this will help us a lot to go to that uh, happiness as quick as possible. And by leading by example, take all the beloved ones and all the other people which we are in contact, showing leading by example, by humility instead of selfishness and pride. And that is then what the best contribution we can give to change the world.
Thank you, my friend. Wonderful. Wonderful. Marco Davis also agree with us. He also mentioned that the book after that, in the chapter Aristocracy Evolution,
Leon Denis.
yeah, they say they have some thoughts about it. So thank you, Marco. Also, good evening to Claudia Vani. Kardec say, I think one of the problems with forgiveness is not forgiveness, but giving others a chance. It can be sometimes a difficult reality also. For example, I have a drug addicted family member that every time we give her a chance, she goes back into drug use. So in this case, charity is not that to give another chance. This way she can better manage and conquer her problems. We love her, but we just observe from a distance and provide what doctors and therapists tell us to help with from a distance. Yeah, sometimes we mistake charitable with being kind, being okay, being good. Sometimes charity is saying no. So I like your point here. Thank you for bringing this up. We need to say education is no as well. Education is do not do what they want, but do what is right. Okay, very good discussion. Let me jump here to our announcements here. So next week, already mid of the year. Can you believe it? It's times flies. My gosh. So next week, the law of worship, connecting with the divine in a distracted world. Okay, how connect with high spheres while I have WhatsApp messages coming all the time, people calling our attention to different things. So that's a good topic. We will discuss what we need to do, what we can do. So next week, from Saturday to Sunday, we will have our 8th European Spiritists gathering in Finland. It's a amazing event full of knowledge, change of knowledge, and meeting other people. Everything in English. So I
Several
can't wait.
countries.
Sorry?
Several countries.
Yeah, many countries. We have more than 30 people already enrolled. So I can't wait for next week. Also in September, we will have the Joana Angeles International Spiritist Congress. Silvia is one of the speakers. So I do believe they still have some places available. So hurry up if you can make it. And this Sunday, Munir will be with our friend Gilberto Coelho. It's his time to talk about Ernesto Bozano. It's 7 p.m. UK time. If you want to stay tuned what's the news in English, please enroll yourself to the Spiritist Institute. There is the Spiritist Radar. So you just pop in your email and you receive the newsletter about the news in Spiritism in English. Also, every Thursday from 6:45 to 7:45, we do have a young people group. They have weekly talks. So it's a great effort from our friends from Solidarity Spiritist Society. If you want to join this discussion, it's free of charge and anyone can join. Please send an email to contact at solidarityspiritistsociety.org.uk. They send you the link to join the calls. Keep reading our Spiritist magazine and reading Kardec Radio. Without Kardec Radio, we were not possible to be here today and sharing all those insights and reading what you have in mind and what you want to touch point. So thank you so much for your time. Munir, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stevan.
Elsa, I know you are doing zillion things at the same time. Thank you for giving this time to us. And Charles, good to have you here. Always wonderful positions and wise comments. Okay. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye.